Hey, hey, hey. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back. I'm going to encourage everyone to come back in. Good morning again. It's still morning over here, and we want to welcome everyone back into the summit. We're having a great time, an excellent time this morning. We had a great session this morning with our brothers talking about how to pass on the baton, succession planning. And if you're here, let me see you give a hand clap if you enjoyed the session so far. Let's see some hands. Let's see some love, some hearts in there. Come on, let me see some things going on in there. Yeah. That's what we want to see. We want to encourage everyone to be a part of this. Listen, share this with your other leaders. Make sure your leaders are here. Make sure they're in the sessions today. They're gathering all the information and let them know. Listen, if they don't get everything today, they have 30 days in order to still tie in and get information from these sessions. Each one of these sessions are being absolutely rich. So I'm going to encourage everyone to please go ahead and make sure that their team is present and they're getting all this information. Just a couple of announcements just before we bring on our super sensational Sherree Lee. I am so excited to have her. Oh my goodness, you guys are in for a great treat this morning. But just before we bring her on, a couple of things I want to let you know. For persons who are obviously on Facebook, we're encouraging you to go to our Influencers Summit Facebook page, or you could also get us at Effective Living with Ricardo Miller on Facebook. That's Effective Living with Ricardo Miller on Facebook, or the Influencers Summit, Virtual Summit 2020. Or yes, guess what? We also are on YouTube. Come on. For those of you who are going to be utilizing that platform, you could watch us on YouTube. And we're using a hashtag today. Our hashtag is hashtag influencers 2020. We have hashtag influencers 2020 or hashtag influencers summit 2020. Come on, let's see some tags. Let's see some hashtags going on in the chat. Come on, let's see that and send it all around on your social media pages. Well, we have several other sessions today. Growing stronger in faith during a crisis. Power of talk, who gets heard and why. We're building your best life. That's coming up. Listen, you don't want to miss any of these. But I am so excited to introduce our next speaker, who's going to be speaking on how to avoid online burnout. How to avoid online burnout. And let me just bring her on with her introduction. And here it is. Hey, Sherree. Hey, Sherree Lee.
How are you?
I am fantastic and getting better. Good to see you, girl. Watch the colors. I love it. Watch the colors in the hair. Oh, you just know how to bring it. You know how to bring it. Listen. Let me calm down and give you an introduction so that you can come on properly, okay? Sherree Lee is a multifaceted creative who has a passion for using the performing arts to help people, especially youth, realize their potential of their creative power. This native Detroiter and Kentucky State University alum is a retired children's pastor, motivational speaker who has spoken to many audiences across the United States and abroad, including the Bahamas. Just want to throw that in there. Sherree is also an entrepreneur with several businesses. She's a director of A&R for an independent record label group and recording artist manager. Together with her husband, Robert T. Lee, and their adult children, Brianna, Sherree, and Robert Joshua, them Lees oversee their family business, Legacy LLC, which consists of businesses and organizations designed to highlight their passion, including Life Live Productions, Inc. This is a theater arts production company that uses theater to address real life issues. Kingdom Performing Arts Academy, which is a non-profit youth arts educational program. They also have Living New Life Ministries, a ministry devoted to ministering to those that may not necessarily like church. Lovely Styles Clothing Company and Phase 2 Face Painting, and it's called hashtag stay in the slate. Stayed and slayed. Take care, amen. Marriage and family vlog, and the newest edition, which is Culture, a live entertainment and restaurant venue. This talented artist has written and directed and produced several theatrical productions that have been enjoyed for years by audiences of all ages, and is well on her way to becoming a force to be reckoned with in this arena. Ladies and gentlemen, influencers, let's welcome Sherree Lee.
Pastor Keno, who are you talking about all that stuff there? No, but it is indeed a pleasure and my honor to be here. I am one of the inaugural members. I was with Pastor Ricardo the very first year, and I told him I'm going to be there until he kicks me out. And so I know he's not going to kick me out. So we are rocking and rolling with the Influencer Summit. Again, I just want to thank Pastor Ricardo, Coach Ricardo, for just giving me the opportunity to just share and pour into others. I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. So let me just start off by saying, guys, I don't think I know everything about the whole burnout, but let me just tell you, I too have dealt with it. And so today we're going to focus on online burnout. Now, as you know, between video chats and happy hours and birthdays and catch-ups and school and friends and family, all day work meeting, school, and now worship, it feels like we're spending all day on camera. And guess what? We are. Even when Pastor Ricardo said, listen, I was trying to hold out to the end, hoping that we could go to the Bahamas. I was still ready to go. And so even when Pastor Ricardo came and told us that we were going to do this virtually, I was like, yay, okay. Because it's just like, I know that's the world we're living in now, but to tell the truth, I'm so tired of virtual meetings and meeting people virtually. I am a people person. I like to talk to people. I like to see people. I like to hug people. And not being able to do that is tough. And so what we are going to talk about is how in the world do we avoid burnout? And we have to be on there. So first of all, according to the latest research, the daily time spent on video chat apps has increased by, listen at this, 277% since March. And that is across the board, 277%. Us being online or video chat ads has increased. And so that means that now, first of all, we were online a lot before the pandemic, but now it's increased. And how do we maintain our mental? How about that? How do we maintain our mental with having to be online so much? Listen, I was hoping I would be able to share my screen because I have a visual that when I saw it, I just laughed about it. And so it was a visual talking about our reaction when somebody says, let's have a video call. When this first started, it was like, oh, this is so great. We can still connect on Zoom. So like in March, we were like, oh, this is great. And we were having birthday parties on Zoom, and we were watching concerts. And now when somebody said, let's connect online, we're like, okay. And so that's what that visual showed. And so with us having to connect so much online, what is the effect that it's having? The effect that it's having on us is we are having burnout. And so what does burnout look like? The time spent on video calls, the time spent online is both physically and mentally exhausting, especially coupled with the anxiety and stress and dealing with the global pandemic. The reality is it is stressful for us to be online. The second thing is causing is Brady Bunch style visual confusion. Especially when you're on a Zoom call that has, 20 people on it, your brain is trying to quickly look at all the people on Zoom. You're trying to gauge their expressions. You're trying to see what's happening, and it forces our brain to decode so many people at once that it comes through not meaningful to us, even with the speaker. And so can anybody relate? Can anybody out there relate? When you're on those Zoom calls and it's even if it's 10 people, you're trying to look and you're trying to gauge everybody's expression. If you're like me, I'm looking in the background trying to see what they got going on. Because sometimes seeing what they have going on is more exciting than what I'm on. But I'm just saying. And then the fact that the going online now gives people more direct access to us. And what I mean by that is everybody has their phones with them all the time now. Everybody, has those computers. Your phones are in the bed, your computers are in the bed. And so where it used to be, there was a clear cutoff for work, a clear cutoff for ministry, a clear cutoff for, those gatherings with your friends. Now that stuff is right in your hand. People are contacting us all the time. And the one thing that I almost hate now is let's just jump on a quick Zoom call. What is a quick Zoom call? Have y'all been? Because the quick Zoom calls are never quick Zoom calls. And so we have to look at what do we do? How do we stop from being inundated with this online calls and chats and social media that we are gonna have to focus in on? What do we do, guys? And so the first thing I want to talk to you about is how do we prepare ourselves? So we got to be online for a lot of things. We have to spend time communicating this way. So what can we do to prepare ourselves? The first thing is stop, pray, and settle yourself. Even if you get a call, from your boss or from your ministry leader, let's jump on this quick Zoom call. Listen, you have the right so that your mental is good to take a second and breathe and pause and pray. We have to do that. We have to do that so we can settle ourselves. Before you click start, take a few breaths. And I want us to do that now because you probably didn't do it before you logged on today. Take a second and breathe. Do that every time before you get online or before you get on these calls. The second thing is feel your body in your chair. And the reason you do that is so you can be present in the meeting. If you're like running and you jump in and you get in a chair and you're getting on and you're breathing hard, take a moment and settle yourself. Feel yourself in the chair. If you're feeling unsettled or preoccupied, you might want to place your hand on your heart. And you might just want to say to yourself, listen, I'm here for you. It's okay to feel how you feel in this moment. Yep, talking to yourself so you can settle and get your emotions under check before you go deal with however many other emotions, whether you're the leader of the conference call or whether you're just a participant. Get yourself ready, settle yourself. The next thing, and y'all, we know we do this, you have to resist the urge to multitask when you are on video calls. And now let me just say this, as we're talking about how to avoid online burnout. Listen, we all know, especially my sisters out there, we are the queens and kings of multitasking. And we will be on that Zoom call. We will be checking emails. We will be cooking dinner. We will be playing with the dog. We will be patting the baby. We will be giving our kids eye motions on the side. And don't let us turn the camera off and really go at it. Y'all, we have to learn how to be present. One of the reasons that we feel like we're burnt out online is because we take that time to do other stuff while we're online. And then what happens is we don't end up focusing on what we're doing, thus making our brain have to work overtime. Listen, I'm telling y'all, I will be on literally right now. I'm on my MacBook. I have my phone up. I have my work phone up as well. And y'all, I have to stop and we have to focus in on what we're doing, the task at hand. Listen, when we don't do that, y'all, we make our brain work overtime. Something that should take a little bit of effort takes so much effort because we won't concentrate on one thing. You have to stop and just go ahead and concentrate on that. Listen, you might have to turn off your notifications for everything else when you're on the call. Guess what, y'all? Whatever it is will hold until you get off your call. One of the reasons that we feel so unsettled is because we let distractions and notifications come in too much. And it's okay, y'all, to put that stuff on silent and so you can concentrate on whatever call you're on. That's whether you're on a birthday party call or whether you're on a work call, whether you're on a ministry call or something else. Listen, anything, it will hold. It will hold. And I know it's like, well, but somebody might call and tell me about Big Mama or somebody. Listen, it will hold. And chances are, if you're on a call or something like that, you can't do anything about it at that moment anyway. And so y'all turn those notifications off so you can focus on the task at hand. Listen, imagine if everybody on your call focused at the task at hand, the calls wouldn't be so long. Because how much time is spent? Oh, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Or you see somebody searching for their words because they really weren't paying attention when somebody was talking. Listen, go ahead, get on there and focus. The next thing, you guys, that I want to talk about today is so we got to be on there. How else do we avoid getting burned out? Y'all, everything doesn't have to be a Zoom call or a video call. Do y'all realize that when you're on video calls, that you spend 90% of your time looking at yourself? I'm gonna take a moment. Let's think about that. When you're on those video calls, what's the first thing that you do when your image pops up? You start noticing all your little flaws. You start fixing on your hair. You start adjusting your glasses. You say, oh, look, let me fix my clothes. Y'all like my influencer shirt my mother made me. Anyway, you start fixing on your clothes. Listen, you spend 90% of video calls looking at yourself. So now imagine how stressful that is. That is like us having a conversation with somebody and having a mirror up to our face, because now you're looking at your own facial expressions the whole time. And so what that does is that creates a stress in our brain, because now we're like, oh, I got to fix my face. Oh, look at that little pimple on my face. Oh, I got a hair out of place. Oh, I didn't know that my teeth look like that. And you're spending time focusing on what you look like instead of spending time hearing whatever the speaker is or whoever that you're communicating with has to say. Anybody else guilty besides me? And so that creates the stress. And so, listen, I know sometimes your bosses may tell you don't, but sometimes you got to take a minute and just cut the camera off and tell them, hey, listen, so I can concentrate on what you're saying, I'm going to cut the camera off on me. And it's okay to say that. Now, I get that we cannot say that sometimes at work or whatever, but listen, you got to do what you got to do to maintain your mental and to make sure you can still function. Listen, the other thing is, y'all, to avoid burnout, we need to use other forms of communication. Listen, I know we got all excited. Oh, we got Zoom, we got StreamYard, we got Google Hangouts, we got Google Meet, we got Slack, just all of this stuff where we can make, even on iPhones, is multiple FaceTime chats now. And we're like, oh yeah, we got all of this stuff. Listen, y'all, sometimes in order to avoid burnout, we need to just make regular old phone calls where I can't see you. I'm just hearing your voice and I'm connecting. Because again, although video is good, listen, right now, you guys can only see me from not even the waist up. It's almost the chest up. And so my hands are moving right now, but you can't see my hands. So you don't know, and a lot of people talk with our hands. And so you can't see that. And so now my brain is looking at you, trying to interpret what you're saying. And I can't really necessarily do that. And then and I know you're like, but if on the phone call, you can't do none of that. But I don't have any preconceived things. I'm just talking to you. And most of the time, that lasts a lot shorter. The other thing, y'all, we can go back to email communications. And I'm talking about burnout online as a whole, but I want to specifically right now hone into burnout with ministry. Now, some of our ministries are just now getting to the fact where we're doing our children online. And now listen, these babies are online for school now, and some of them are online 6-7 hours a day just in school. And then, again, we're still having online chats with our friends, and now we're saying, yay, we're excited. We're saying, yay, we have we can go online for church. And we're like, look, the church is so dope, we about to be on Zoom. And the kids are like, okay, another Zoom call. What do we have to do? Listen, y'all, it's okay to not have an hour-long children's worship on Zoom. Just because you had an hour-long one when you guys were in person, you can't do that on Zoom. Y'all, we got to take a moment back and figure out how to get in the great information, all that great stuff we study in the time frame of their attention span. Here's the deal. I know some of y'all are saying, well, look, they're on Roblox, and they're on Roblox playing Roblox for hours, and they're on 2K, and they're playing that for hours. Listen, those developers have spent millions and millions of dollars to make it so that happens. Listen, let's be real. The church, we haven't done that. We just glad to be on there. So we know we haven't spent millions of dollars to get these kids ready, even adults ready for a Zoom call. And the thing about it is, even this, I don't want to see just anybody just sitting there talking to me, even if they got a cute little background in the back or maybe got some words coming on the screen. So if I don't want to see that, think about a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old. Even if you do a video for the church, because we, I know we've been working on some little cute videos and stuff. Listen, it takes so long to produce those that we'll do a dope video, and then the next week we like, okay, yeah, you don't get a video this week. Listen, y'all, we cannot stress these kids out trying to get them the word of God. Listen, God can be just as powerful in 5 minutes as he can be in 50 minutes. And guess what? That 50 minutes or that hour is a lot of times for us. And so what we have to do to help everybody, including ourselves, avoid online burnout is we got to get over ourselves. We got to get over our content. We got to, how great our content is and how much we study. Listen, is it about how much you study and how much content you could get out? Or is it about the kids receiving? Or is it about the kids getting what they need from that? And I agree. Listen, we want to change the world, and we can reach way more people this way, but we have to be effective and efficient with doing it, or else they won't get the message. Listen, to avoid burnout, I know I'm trying to give y'all all this information. Listen, and the only reason I'm going 50 minutes is because that's what they have allotted, because I would have got this in 15. But anyway, we have to set communication expectations early. Listen, you got to say in ministry to your ministry leaders, you got to be able to be bold in this time, even with your boss, and say, listen, I have a limit. I won't be on Zoom calls after 9 o'clock or whatever. I won't be on Zoom calls after 5. My limit for a Zoom call is 30 minutes. And this is, you could do that a little more with ministry than you can with your boss. But y'all, we have to set real communication expectations for us. We cannot just let people tell us at 10 o'clock at night, let's just jump on a Zoom call. And how about men influencers? Don't do that to your people, especially because we're all on a million Zoom calls. So you be the leader that says, I'm going to be efficient and effective. Listen, ask yourself, how much of this information do I need to get out in this call? Listen, y'all, the Lord has been so gracious to us. He's allowed us to live through this. He's allowed us to be here. I don't think that he wants us to do it all in one day. And if you're not here the next day, then it wasn't meant for that information to get out. And I'm making light of it, but I'm being serious, y'all. We don't have to get it all out in one sitting. For one, the people who you're trying to get it to aren't even taking all that in like that. And they may get 5 minutes of your 50-minute Zoom call. So stop making these marathon meetings, because that's how you burn out your people, and that's how you get burned out. Listen, another way to avoid online burnout is by not forcing video interaction. Now, the very first session yesterday with Pastor Sabrina and Trisha and Pastor Rosemary and Leslie. I'm like, what's her name? It blessed me so much, because they talked about their personality types. And Leslie said, I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies. And Sabrina said, I am too. Trisha said, I'm definitely an extrovert. And so you have to think about the fact that it was just 4 of them on there, and they were talking about their different ways of communicating and receiving information and their personalities. And that is true of everyone on there. And so you have to make sure that to avoid burnout, you don't put expectations on people that overwhelms them because we don't want to be the reason someone else is burned out. And so a way that you can do that is don't force video interaction. Even when you're ministering to your young people and kids, you don't know what happened in their house. You don't know what is going on in their family. They may not be able to put up a great background and do all of that great stuff. And I'm going to talk about the backgrounds in a minute. And so listen, if they don't want to put their camera on, let's respect that. Now, of course you can say, okay, let me see everybody. Let's wave. Let's get this. But that stresses some people out because remember, they're spending more time looking at themselves than they are you. And some people still have some things that they have to deal with as far as being okay with who God made them. And we don't want to stress them out by forcing them to look at themselves, look at their facial expressions. And so when you're on your Zoom calls, especially with your young people, just keep that in mind. The 30-second thing is understand that life may get in the way. Listen, one way that we get stressed out on Zoom calls is we want to act like real life is not happening. We get mad when we see kids or we get stressed out and we're like, mute your phones, mute your things. When we hear stuff, y'all take a moment and realize that life is going to continue to happen, even though we are having our wonderful Zoom meeting. Life is going to continue to happen. And so now with the pandemic going on, with all the stuff that we have going on, take a moment and realize that everybody still has life going on. Everybody still has things that are stressing them, that are getting in the way, that doesn't have anything to do with your wonderful prepared presentation Zoom meeting. People are trying to juggle childcare and school, and some people are facing unemployment. And so y'all, we have to take a second and realize that it's okay that life continues to happen. It continues to get in the way. Next thing is, to avoid burnout, let's find other approaches to video. Listen, you might have to do some I Spy games. I Spy in the background, or go find this stuff just to break the monotony. Listen, I do this on my Zoom calls because first of all, I love games. I'm a game player. I like fun stuff. I'm the fun person. In any setting, I'm gonna be the fun person. If we're just spewing out information, I'm not going to make it through your call. You got to do something. You got to give me something to do. That's why I stopped and told you guys to breathe. You got to do something. I know y'all tired of these meetings. Listen, there's good information, but y'all, listen, we got to be doing something. We got to be moving. And so that brings me to my next point. Listen, y'all, when you're on those calls, it's okay to do this. Stand up, stretch, move around. You have to do that. You gotta move. It's not just mandatory for your body, but y'all, it's mandatory for your brain. That's why physical movement is so important. Listen, I know some bosses, don't want you to do this, but a good thing to do is chat and walk and chat. Walk and talk. Y'all, that helps so much. When I'm on a call, whether it's a regular phone call or a Zoom call, I will walk and chat and move. And I know it may get on, the person who's trying to gauge all those different little faces may get on their nerves, but guess what? It helps your mental. And again, in order to avoid burnout, you got to do what you got to do for your mental. It's okay to do things for you. And I know in the body of Christ, we Oh, don't be selfish. Listen, sometimes you have to be selfish with your mental health so that you can be effective in ministry. If my mental is not good, I can't pour into you. And so I got to do what I have to do to make sure that I'm not burnt out so I can give to you as an influencer everything that I need to give. This next thing to avoid burnout is a biggie. I want you to lean in. Give yourself permission to say no. You do not have to get on every Zoom call. You might have to miss the birthday chat. You might have to miss the gathering just to maintain your mental. All of us now, we're kind of returning to life a little bit. And so now our schedules, we were able to take this break. We were able to take a breather. And now our schedules are getting back full, but we're not fully back seeing each other. So we're doing physical stuff and online stuff. And now we're saying yes to everything. You got to give yourself permission to say no when you can. You have to look at and say, what is it a priority for me to do? And then all that other stuff, say no to. And you can't worry about, well, are they going to be mad? Or how about this? And you can't worry about, are they not going to think I'm the greatest now because I said no? And a lot of times, y'all, we don't say no because we don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. We don't say no because our egos are too big to have people know that we can't do it all. And so we have to get over ourselves and how great we are and how we could do everything to maintain our mental and to keep us from burning out online or otherwise. Give ourselves permission to say no. Listen, I told y'all about the notifications. I told y'all about having all these pop-ups. But one thing I want to say is not just having notifications, not just having pop-ups, just spend less time online. And I know you're like, oh, well, how can I do that? You can. Because some of us are spending a whole lot of time scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through TikToks now, scrolling through YouTube, scrolling. We don't have to do all of that. And then when it comes to the stuff that we need to do, we're saying we're burned out. Y'all, look at the stuff that you're on. My kids got me one time real bad on my phone. And I kept saying, my phone is moving slow. What's going on? And they were like, well, how many apps do you have open? And so I'm like, I don't know. I did this when I was in the Bahamas too. I looked at how many apps I had open, and no lie, I had 60 something apps open. That's not on anybody else. That's not them calling meetings. That's not all these. That was me. I had too much online stuff going on. And so as I started to close those windows, it was like, okay, why did I need to be on all of this stuff at one time? And so I want you to do that right now. I want you to look at your phone, and I want you to see how many open windows that you have. Some of y'all might have to look right at the top of your computer screen and see how many tabs that you have on top. How many of those have to be open? How many of those do you have to be looking at right now? What is the importance of them being open right now? So go ahead right now and look at your tabs, look at your open windows, and start closing them. Right now, you should be focusing in on this Facebook or YouTube or whatever you're viewing this on. And look at that, 18. Let me see the numbers. Angela, 18. That's too many. Now think about in real life, could we focus on 18 things at a time? Yep, let me see those numbers of the open windows. And so it's easy to blame your senior leadership. It's easy to blame your boss. But some of this online burnout you have created yourself. You don't need all of that open. Spend less time online. Set limits for your digital use. Listen, I don't know how many of y'all have the latest iPhone, but iPhone has this thing where it tracks your screen time. And I get these little alerts that tells me you spent so many hours on screen time. Or this little thing right here, this Apple Watch will tell me, listen, you've been on your phone too much. Y'all, go ahead now. If you need a notification to come up, that's the one to come up. And again, it's okay to pull back. It's okay to say, for your mental, I cannot be online like this. Listen, it's so funny because the Holy Spirit is funny. It will check you. It will check you. I was getting ready this morning, and I told you I have my work phone and I have my personal phone. And I knew that Pastor Ricardo and the team would probably be sending some updates and some things. I knew my work, because I'm out of town. I'm literally out of town on business right now. I knew my work was sending. I go to get ready. I took both of my devices where? In the bathroom. And it's so funny because I was praying about what the Lord, want to make sure I said what I was supposed to say. And the Lord was like, Holy Spirit was like, now look at you. Look at what you're doing. And it's so second nature to us because in my mind, I didn't want to miss anything. I didn't want to miss any alerts that I got from work. I didn't want to miss any alerts I got from Pastor Ricardo and the team. And the Holy Spirit said, whatever it is, it can wait. Whatever it is, it can wait while you're in the restroom getting ready. And so I said, you know what, Lord, you're right. And I took my phones and I brought them in the other room and I went back to do what I needed to do. And guess what? I was able to concentrate more, even on what the Lord was telling me, not just about this session, but about my day. And sometimes, y'all, we have to unplug and let people wait a second. Guess what, y'all? The world hasn't stopped because somebody waited on us to answer a notification. The world kept going, and it's okay if it kept going without me jumping at it every second. You have to set limits to yourself. Stop taking your phone in the bathroom. You don't have to see everything that is tweeted by the president. That stuff stresses you out. You heard Pastor Keno say, and the little bit about me that my newest venture is I opened a restaurant live entertainment spot. It has been an absolute joy, but it's been really stressful. One of the things that has made it stressful is, guess what? Online reviews. You have the people who love it, and then for whatever reason, you have the people who don't. And so I have the alerts from Google, from OpenTable, from Facebook, from it's another. So whenever a review comes in, good or bad, I was getting alerts. And now we were getting really, really great reviews. And so we'll probably get 10 great ones and then one that's not so great. Guess which one I concentrated on? Because it was alerted on my phone. And so now I'm feeling some kind of way. My whole spirit is tripped out because I got an alert at 2:30 in the morning for somebody who was up for whatever reason, and they just decide they want to write a bad review. And so now I'm stressed out. Listen, y'all, everything doesn't have to be our emergency, especially online. The next thing, y'all, to avoid online burnout, and I'm almost done here, is don't confuse your internet life with your real life. And I have to talk about online burnout and social media. Listen, I love social media. Social media helps me boost my business. It helps me connect with friends and family, all that great stuff. But the reality is, y'all, we get so bogged down with what people are doing online, that we try to make that reflect our real life. And guess what? That's a form of burnout too. We are looking at what other people are doing. We're like, oh, they're doing this, I should be doing this. Or we're even on the Zoom thing. I'll be like, oh, look, their house looks so clean back there. I wonder, and it's like, no, the area of the house they showed you was clean. Or, it's like, oh, they did that cool background. I need to put that background up. Now let's talk about that for a minute. I told you I would talk about that. I think virtual backgrounds are great. They really are. But they add to the stress of online burnout. And the reason let me tell you why I say that. It's hard enough that we're not communicating in person. It's hard enough that I'm only seeing you from the waist up or the chest up, and I'm only seeing, your face and shoulders. And then I'm seeing that against something that's artificial. It's already hard to read facial expressions. It's already hard to gauge what's going on. And now I'm looking at you in front of this fake background. And so it's helping my brain to add to the fakeness of this conversation. And I know that's tough to hear because we like it. You don't have to see what's going on in our background. But sometimes, and depending on the situation, you guys, you need to let the background go and let people realize that you're a human. When Pastor Keno came on here today, I grappled with, I was going to put up the background. I was going to put up the influencer background, but I don't want you all stressed while you're watching this, because you're looking at me virtual. I'm already virtual. And then you're looking at me when my head is popping out of a logo. Sometimes too much technology and too many bells and whistles take away from the authenticity of the message. And I don't want for us to get distracted because we're looking at Pastor Ricardo, and it's so funny. I hope he don't kill me for this. So he went live, and his background, I was like, nah, y'all already know he keeps an immaculate house. But I'm like, he got all those books back there. And it's definitely a virtual background, but I'm looking at his virtual background like, now I'm distracted by the great information he was given because of the virtual background. And so listen, y'all, yes, we can get distracted with the real background, but at least it's an authentic background, and it keeps me as an authentic person. And so, y'all, we don't always have to have those bells and whistles. Especially, y'all, I know we like in children's ministry, we love to have the backgrounds, and it's great, it's good, but it doesn't need to be up the whole time that you're ministering. Let them see the real, authentic you. Move those backgrounds sometimes. So I think my time is almost up, Pastor Keno. Where am I at? Where am I at with time? I've given you most of the information. I don't want us to turn our back on digital communication, because we can't. I don't want us to, I'm never going to get on a Zoom call, but just do some things, make some adjustments so that you won't be burned out when you're on this. Y'all, again, be present, take time to pray. Oh, this is a huge thing, and I don't know how I forgot this. Take breaks from it. I know sometimes I have had Zoom call after Zoom call after Zoom call, and most of the times, someone has asked, okay, what's a good time? And I'm like, okay, this one should end at 1. Okay, I could start the next one at 1:15. No, give yourself a break to regroup. Give yourself a break to breathe. Give yourself a break. How about this? To go use the restroom. Sometimes we don't do that just because we're trying to be all things to everybody. And then the last thing I want to leave with you. So about 5 years ago, I retired from working for the church. I had worked for the church for 20 something years, the physical church. I worked for the church. I was the ministry assistant. I went from being a ministry assistant to the special events coordinator to the children's pastor. I was children's pastor for 13 years. Then I was the arts and entertainment director for 5 years. And so I was working in ministry, and then I stopped working in ministry to pursue the next phase of my life. And then when that happened, I had to relearn who I was outside of what I did. And I want to say that to you guys about even online burnout. Sometimes we want to appear like we just doing so much and we are being so much when what you do is not who you are. And so sometimes the online burnout comes because we're so busy in what we do instead of who we are. And so take a moment and let God show you who you are outside of what you do, outside of all the projects that you have. And yes, y'all, ministry is super important. We have got to get the gospel of Jesus Christ out there. And now we got to do it online. But listen, that's not who you are. That's what you do. And so you have to make sure that who you are is good so that you can do what you do. And so I love you guys. I hope that this has blessed you. I hope that it has poured into you and made you stop, regroup, and think so that you won't continue to be a victim of online burnout.
Wow. Wow. Sherree, what a session. If you did a altar call right then, I would have been the first one to the altar. You would have had to pray me through. Thank you. That's probably why Pastor Ricardo let me moderate this session. Thank you so much, Sherree. I think I was looking at the comments that were coming in the session, and so many people have been agreeing with what you were saying. This is just an amazing session. And you were absolutely right. It's time to take a break. It's time to be authentic. It's time to make sure that we put things in perspective, put time limits, avoid multitasking. Oh my goodness. Oh my, you might as well just pray for me right now.
I thought that Pastor Ricardo was trying to be funny when I looked at what my title was. I'm like, okay, one of y'all, the Holy Spirit of Pastor Ricardo got jumped. You want me to teach this?
Oh man, you did it. You did a great job. You put it in perspective, and I just pray that all the persons who've been watching, whether live today or they'll be watching in the next 30 days, because they have access to this for the next 30 days, that they really listen and watch and apply what has been shared by you today. My wife is swearing in the background right now. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to take a break. But thank you so much, Sherree Lee. Wonderful. Please, persons, if you have questions for Sherree, please post them in the chat. She's going to be around during the day. Post them in the chat. She will answer them to you and answer you in the chat. We're going to take a break now. We're going to take a break for about 8 minutes, 8 or 9 minutes. We have another session that's going to be beginning at 12 noon. We have another session, and that session is going to be growing stronger in faith during crisis. We have Angela Marks and another great speaker who's going to be presenting. So we'll see you later. See you at 12 noon. God bless everyone.